So LeBron came out, what, 2 nights ago? And basically said this after the Timberwolves game when he was asked about Anthony Edwards being the future face of the league. He basically comes out and straight up says, why do you want to be the face of a league when all the people that cover the league shit on you on a day-to-day basis? Interesting thought. He then followed it up with a Twitter thread that we'll take a look at here in a second yesterday. And I thought that this was a very interesting entry by LeBron into a discussion that has been happening for quite a while now. It feels like really this year, talk has ramped up about how in theory, the NBA is dying, or why the NBA is a worse product than it used to be. How three-pointers are ruining the game of basketball was a big narrative to start the season. A variety of different storylines and themes, and I just want to give my take on the idea of the NBA failing and talk about the state of the league as a whole, because I don't think it's nearly as bad as a lot of pundits and social media personalities and TV media personalities maybe make it out to be. So with that being said, before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I upload multiple NBA videos every single day. Really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe, trying to hit 2K on this channel. Would really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. So Stephen A. Smith comes out and says after this, the league has been hurt. It hasn't been hurt by the media. By the way, in today's generation, these dudes think the media is social media. They lump us all in the same. That's because you are a part of social media, Stephen A. That's been the whole point of shows like First Take and guys, people like Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and Max Kellerman a few years ago, and Stephen A. Smith and guys like that is the drama, is the rage bait almost at times, I think you could call it. Like, that's a big part of internet media, whether it be TV media, whether it be social media, especially when it comes to basketball. That's just how it is. And I think he's got a very fair point. And really, I feel like this started a couple days ago with Channing Frye. Channing Frye was the one who came out and said that nostalgia has been very overrated. Let me see if I can find this thing that he said. Nostalgia's killing the NBA. 90s basketball, MJ and Kobe was not as clean as y'all think it was. He basically just came out in general and shared his opinion that basketball back then was not as great as people act like it was. And that I fully agree with. I think that I've gone back and watched 90s basketball. 90s basketball had great players and great talents, especially bigs, like a dominant run of bigs, guys like Shaq and Hakeem and players like that who were, even Patrick Ewing and David Robinson, a lot of other guys who were really legendary bigs. And there's a ton of talent in 90s basketball, but it is an ugly, slow game in a lot of ways. Not every game is Bulls versus Knicks. I mean, it is a ugly, gritty, not particularly fun to watch game in a lot of ways, in all honesty. It's a lot of the same concepts as well as they're run today in the NBA, just for 2-pointers instead of threes, for mid-ranges instead of 3-pointers. Like, the game itself is not all that different, although it is, I think, faster, more skillful, and more talented today than it has ever been. The players are better, they're bigger, faster, stronger, more skilled, better trained, in better shape, all of those things than the 80s and the 90s. And that's just how it was gonna be, right? Like, I don't think that's a huge problem. I think the people who refuse to accept that that is true are deluding themselves. And again, that is the whole point that Channing Frye is making with his nostalgia point about how nostalgia has ruined the NBA. And I agree. I don't know. I have some strong takes that I'm not going to share on this video about 90s basketball and the superstars of that era, in all honesty. But I do think that it is, and LeBron basically comes out and says this. And the media immediately made his point. I kind of agree with that by continuing to shit all over him. But he basically said it's not about the face of the game. It ain't about one person or one show. It's about the culture of basketball, the most beautiful game in the world. Our game has never been better. Full stop. That I agree with. I think basketball right now is the greatest it has ever been. You have a level of longevity with superstars from the previous era, I guess you could say. Guys like LeBron, Steph, KD, James Harden, even Russell Westbrook, and other guys like that contributing at a high level in a way that we've never really seen out of this many superstars from what would be perceived the previous era at this late point in their career. And I mean, look, he's right. Incredible young stars from all over the world and some older ones. Basketball has never been a more international game. It has never been more worldwide in terms of NBA superstardom. Players like Luka Doncic from Slovenia, Giannis from Greece, Nikola Jokic from Serbia. Those are the three best players in the world. or at least 3 of the 4 or 5 best players in the world. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a Canadian. It's all over the world. It's a worldwide game. Your top 5 players in the world are probably those 4 guys and maybe Jason Tatum, American. Like your whole, the whole system is in the best place it's ever been. You have so much stars, so many young stars, so many foreign stars, multiple American-born stars like Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards, and those guys should be appreciated. And it's interesting because he points out, let's discuss how great OKC and the Cavs have been this season with 2 completely different styles and break down why and how they have. Of course, if players don't perform, we need to discuss that too and break that down. But even that can be discussed in a way that's not to bring finality to that player's game, but to leave room to see how that player responds, and let's watch the journey of that player. This ain't about me either. At this point, I don't really care about what's said about me. It's always something. This is about the impact, the negativity that it's having on our beautiful game and our fans. I know I speak for a lot of players and more importantly, a hell of a lot of great fans that truly love and celebrate this sport around the world. Hashtag mind the game, which by the way, I missed that podcast. But I think LeBron worded this beautifully, in all honesty. I think he said it beautifully. I really think it starts at the top. I think in a lot of ways, Adam Silver and some of the people making decisions in basketball have become desperate because of ratings going down to try to change things up and find flair and find answers instead of embracing what is great about the game that we have right now, which is the mix of young and old stars, the uprising of young, exciting new teams like Cleveland and OKC that may not have huge markets but are incredibly talented. You have your face of the NBA, by the way. It is not even a debate. The face of the NBA is Victor Wembanyama going forward into the future. I don't know why this is such a discussion. He's the guy. Full stop. That's the answer. But in general, I don't think it matters about a face of the NBA. It's been this conversation that's been happening a lot this year, and it's just like, who cares if it's Anthony Edwards or Victor Wembanyama or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum? Who cares? They're all great. They're all amazing. They're all from all over the world, and basketball has never been as talented as it is. And the thing is, it's never had this level of versatility to play styles as well. You have everybody from the 3-point bomber running around, coming off screens and making incredible shots in Steph Curry, to the athletic freak in Ja Morant, to the combination of the two in a way, in all honesty, and Anthony Edwards, who's shooting 40% from 3 off the dribble on 10 attempts a game this year, but is also a freak athlete attacking the rim. And then you have masterful playmakers like Jokic and Luka and LeBron, and a 40-year-old in Bron who's doing things no 40-year-old has ever done in the history of basically professional sports, certainly professional basketball. Other legends like KD and Steph still playing at the hot top of their game. New teams and new contenders that are popping up out of nowhere, like the Cavs, like the Thunder, maybe not out of nowhere, but still, like the Warriors being resilient all of a sudden, and they're a lot of old dudes, but they're back in contention. You have Luka and LeBron playing together in LA, which is the most beautiful thing that could ever happen for the NBA. Makes me wonder if it was rigged. Again, sure, it's a valid question, but I just don't get how you look at the basketball landscape in today's NBA and don't think this is in an awesome place going forward. My opinion is that it is. And I think the narrative around it from the top, from people like Inside the NBA on TNT, from these social media, big social medias, from these talk shows are too negative, and they are too nostalgic. And look, 90s basketball is great. 2000s basketball is great. Respect Kobe and MJ and all those legends. That don't really matter that much for today's basketball. Let's enjoy the legends that we have and that are building their own legacies today. And basketball can be a great sport because of it. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Be back with more NBA content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.